Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria. It's such a pleasure to be here for another exciting episode of the Find Your Voice and Own Your Space series. And guess what, guys? This is the 20th episode. I am so excited. I mean, I remember when this whole show started, it was with fights and like and lots of accountability, but hey, we are 20 episodes strong, and I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to all of our guests that have joined us on this show. I feel so honored to have all new people that have become acquaintances and now friends, and of course people in my circle and community of friends who have also been guests and have graced, this stage and this platform. I'm deeply, deeply grateful. By the way, Find Your Voice and Own Your Space is a show where career professionals, business leaders, founders, they come to share their journey on how they found their voice in their different spheres of influence and how they are currently owning their spaces. We are live on LinkedIn at Jade Sola Deodun. We're also live on YouTube at Lady Jade Global. Last week we had a very robust conversation. If a founder or you're trying to transition from being an employee to starting something of your own, last week's episode is an episode that you need to sit with, watch, and thoroughly digest. Now, guys, last week was the mental health week, and it was really really phenomenal to have certain conversations regarding people's mental health and whatnot. And even though next month would be the mental health month for men, we have lineup of amazing men that we're going to have conversations with. But more importantly, today, our guest for today is my friend, my sister, true and true. Interestingly, we met about 3 years ago, and it was in the most interesting ways. But hey, she has moved from being my friend to my very good sister. Like, Omo, yeah, me Timo Timo. For those of you that don't speak that language, it means my very dear sister from another mother, and I'm really excited. She's a certified counseling psychologist, and she does amazing work. She has catered to over 5,000 people across West Africa. Aside from being, a mental health coach, she also facilitates trainings, coachings, and training people to ensure that they're very aware of their mental health and their mental states. Now, I mean, one of the good thing is that friendship and sister benefit. At least we get therapy sessions, but we also pay sha. Please, we pray where we come from. I'm super duper excited to introduce my friend and my sister, Omotola Oyenekan. Please put your hands together wherever you're watching us from. Hi, sister. It's good to have you on the show. I'm so
Same here.
excited. Thank you for being my cheerleader, offline, and just, bringing you here is like a dream come true for me because it's really beautiful. I heard your story offline, and it's just really amazing for me to want the world to hear it. I mean, the amazing things that you do, and there are some cases that we've had to talk about. And I'm like, girl, you're trying, it's God have put grace to help people in their life. So, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Omotola, we're gonna go. So, can you just tell us a few things about yourself? Let us meet you.
Okay, so I'm Omotola Akinwale. Sorry. Omotola
Nini
Oyenekan.
Akinwale, this couple, she's a freshly baked married
Sometimes
man, so
I
that's
think,
the
yes,
example.
sometimes it happens like that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so me Akinwale, formerly Omotola Akinwale, but now Omotola Oyenekan, a counseling psychologist. I finished from the University of Ibadan. Um, I've been doing this for the last 10 years now. Yes. So I started as a student, of course, with
Mm,
volunteering and all of that. And when I finished with my studies, I branched into counseling full time.
mm. Now, what from my experience, I've come to realize that certain things happen, certain experiences happen to some of us that serves as a
Hmm.
tipping point to
Hmm.
the career choice or the passion that we pursue. So, at what point did you realize that we're going to move from just being, you know, trained as your first degree to actually pursue it as a career plus passion? Can you hear me? Okay, so I guess her network has is fluctuating. But by the way, in case you are just joining us, this is the Find Your Voice and Own Your Space. Please make sure that you let us know your name and where you are watching us from. My name is Jade and I'm hosting from Lagos, Nigeria. So please let us know in the comments on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. If you're watching us from LinkedIn, hello, hi, how you doing? So let us know your name and when you're and where you're watching us from so that we can continue this conversation. I believe that in no time Mrs. Omotola will be back with us to continue on this conversation. By the way, this is Find Your Voice and Own Your Space, where career professionals, founders, leaders share their stories on how they found their voice and how they are currently owning their spaces. By the way, we are 20 episodes strong. So this weekend should be a weekend where you get to binge on all of our episodes. It's very, very important. I mean, you're going to have so much fun. So I think the Motala is back now. Hi, Motala. Good to have you back. So yes, what
Yes,
happened?
I'm
What
back. I
did
guess
happen?
I really do not understand, but I guess it was the network.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. So I'm going to repeat my question. I said that what
Yes, please.
happened? What happened in your journey that made you decide that we're going to pursue psychology or being a psychologist full time, beyond it being a passion to an actual career and helping people with their mental health?
Okay, so my journey wasn't that dramatic. I
Okay.
just noticed that I enjoyed asking people questions. I
Mm,
wanted to really know how they were doing. And I
mm,
would always, how are you? And people would say, I'm fine. And I'm like, are you really fine? And I remember I'd already picked something else to study in the
okay.
but then one of the counseling center in the place where I was having my jam preparation tutorial center at the time said, you know what, I've noticed this about you. It's like you like to um, talk to people, understand people, and really want to get into their feelings. And I think there's a course for it that you can do. Unfortunately,
Mm,
I wasn't thinking of anything like that. Like I said, I already picked something else. Even my mom wanted me to become a lawyer, but I always felt like I couldn't argue. I couldn't, I just
mm,
it wasn't cut up for me at all. But she wanted something, prestigious and all of that. One of my aunties wanted me to be a medical doctor. And so I was
mm,
caught up in all of that. But when that person made that suggestion, it just felt okay, let me give this a try, not so bad. So I decided that okay, no problem. Let me go ahead and try this course. If it doesn't work, at the time there was this very big brochure for
mm-hmm.
jam. Yes.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and checked the course, and I felt like, oh, this resonates. Let me give it a try. So, but unfortunately, Nigerian parents now. I couldn't tell them at home that this was what I wanted to really do. So I put another course as my first choice and put this as my second choice, like a backup kind of plan, right? And when thankfully my dad was very supportive, because when I got home and I'm like, Dad, it's like I really want to do this counseling of a thing. Ah, it was a lot, because back then, counseling was majorly done by religious leaders. They would say go for counsel, let them counsel you, and all of that. And I got a lot of backlash. Like one of my teachers at the time was like, why do you want to go and pay to study what they do in churches for free? And that's basically my journey.
So how did you then? What then happened? Because you had said that you had picked the first course and then psychology was like, so what happened? How did it now fall into psychology?
All right.
I can hear you. Hello, Motola. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's still Find Your Voice and Own Your Space. it's really interesting how growing up, well, I'm a 90s kid, and growing up, our parents either wanted us to either be lawyers or engineers or medical doctors. What's that other profession again? But it's really interesting how our parents did this out of the kind of information that they had readily available to them at the time. Because who would have thought, I mean, for me, my mom wanted me to be a medical doctor. So imagine if I had been a medical doctor. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with being a doctor, honestly, but I felt like God was like, nope, this girl is not, she's not a medical doctor material. Because I really won't be doing what I'm doing today. I won't be helping professionals find their voice and own their spaces. I don't even, and it was really interesting for me because I didn't want to do, first and foremost, I did like chemistry. So all the chemistry gurus out there, I love and appreciate you. I respect you. I honor you. How you guys do it, I don't know. And because of the kind of person that I am as a person, I work well with facts, not abstract. And for me, growing up as a teenager, chemistry was pretty abstract for me, and it just didn't make sense. Biology was really real, was very real. So it was really interesting, and this helps me to. This helps me, and I also believe that for our viewers out there, it also helps us to connect with what Omotola was sharing earlier, and I believe that when we then become parents, we would be able to make informed decisions, as parents, because life is really evolving. And to think that, hi, Matala, welcome back. And to think that most of our parents, they didn't have,
Hi.
good to have you back. Let me just wrap up on this thought and then we'll continue our
Okay, no
conversation, right?
problem.
Because I was sharing how, growing up, our parents either wanted us to be doctors or lawyers or
Or engineer.
accountants or engineers. And who would have thought that in the time and age where we are, there's a strong need for counselors? I mean, you had mentioned that they felt like at the time was only that could give free counseling. Even in church now, pastors
Mm,
have certified psychologists
yeah.
for mental health cases in the church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is also to tell our audience, when we become parents, let us be open minded. Let's look into the gifts and the awesomeness that our children. Let's see what our children lean into, so that we can guide them to the right courses
Yeah.
or course of education to go to. So, Motola, how did you do it? You said that psychology was your second choice. So, was it the first choice or second? What really? I'm really curious. What happened?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I had the support of my dad,
Mm,
right? Because when I eventually mentioned that I didn't want to do the first choice because I felt like
yeah,
it wasn't going to give me so much impact, and I wanted
yeah.
to do the second choice, he started defending me everywhere, started telling everybody, leave her alone. That's what she wants to do, and that's fine with me.
Mm.
And behind closed doors, you'll be like, "Don't disgrace me. Oh. I've already given you the go ahead, so don't
Uh,
disgrace me." Right? Till date, he's still one of my biggest cheerleaders. My dad, anybody that cares to know, do you know my daughter? She's a counselor.
love it.
Is I had that support from him. It
Mm,
took my mom a while to adjust to it. Even while I was still studying, she's like,
mhm.
"Are you sure that is this? You are not sure that you want to do something else, right?" But
Yeah.
his support kind of gave me that leverage. And then, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, the person who introduced me to the course also was also quite supportive with
Yeah, that's good.
the journey as well. So that was how I was able to do it. I remember when I got to school, I was the
Mm-hmm.
only. I think it was just three of us out of 100 students that
Mm-hmm.
actually picked the course.
Wow.
Three of
Wow.
us. So for every other person they were giving, that they gave me. This is not what they gave me. And for the
That's
three of us,
it.
it was really evident till we finished because I wasn't tired, I wasn't angry. I loved, every bit of the course. I soaked myself
Mm,
into it. I really wanted the nitty gritty. It even when we did that, you know what, this thing I'm really going to just outside just studying a course. Like I'm really going to focus on this and I'm going to do it full time.
So I want the place that I say you didn't want to go now. Go there now. The place I say you don't want to go. Go there.
Okay,
Go.
so
Continue. Be going.
okay, no problem. So sometime in between, because back then,
Yeah.
this I'm talking about a decade and some years ago now. Back
Yeah.
then, you really couldn't put thoughts to your feelings. If you were feeling in a certain way, if somebody was
Yeah.
abusing you, all of that, you really couldn't exactly understand it. And I must say that now the knowledge has evolved more than what it used to be back then.
True.
But I remember, I think in my the late part of my second year,
Mm-hmm.
I got, I had a situation very traumatic for me,
Hmm.
so traumatic that it made me take my life at the point, because that was the only see, that was the only thing I understand. Let's just end it, right? There was so much darkness and hopelessness, and I just felt like this is all there is to
There
this
is to
situation. This
life
is
at
all there
this
is
time.
to it. Yes. So at the time, I planned how it was going to happen, but thankfully I didn't go through with it. And that was because a friend of mine, she just decided, you know what, I'm coming to see you this morning. I didn't want her to see me in that state. So I waited for her to come. Fortunately, she just asked me, she said, you know what, you're always asking everyone if they're fine, but I've never really gotten to ask you if you're really fine. And that was it.
Hmm.
It was like that was all I needed. And
Hmm.
I was just like, I'm not really fine. This and that has been happening to me, you know, and all of that. And I opened up to her. And that experience was what made me feel like, wow, if she didn't come at that time,
That time.
yes, what would have happened would have been far worse. So I
Hmm.
decided that, to help every other person, I want to be that person she was for me that day to every other
Hmm.
person who needs somebody to just, listen to them, validate their feelings, and help them navigate life's challenges. And that was
Hmm.
what cemented it for me. Yes, I wanted to do that, but it just made me realize that, wow, I could just have, you know, just gone like that if this person was
I will
not.
not now see you in this my life journey. God forbid. God had me in mind because
No,
how would I have coped?
it's one of the reasons I'm very passionate about
Hmm.
suicidal
Cases.
ideation and people who think about it. That's one of the things that drives my passion, because I've been there and I understand
Hmm.
it. I understand what fuels it. Many times it's just hopelessness. If somebody can just say, you know what, I see you, I hear you, and I understand you. I remember that day, it was like I was speaking gibberish, but she just stayed. It was for hours.
Understood.
It was
Yeah.
all through the night, actually. It was it
Hmm.
was it was no, there was no break. She wasn't eating. She was just listening to me. She
Hmm.
just wanted to just get every. And she was like, "You bottled this much, and nobody knew about it. Nobody
Hmm.
understood. And you're always smiling. Like, how?" And that situation just made it easy for me to say, you know what, I really want to help people so that they don't have to experience this thing at home, right?
Wow. Wow. This. Oh my goodness. Please, thank you for not dying. Thank you because I will for do this episode. Please, I will for do this.
that,
Please,
that
please,
can never
please.
happen again.
Never again. Never. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really glad that, and God bless that friend because again, what you said has highlighted the fact that I also want to believe that that friend reaching out to you was also a God coincidence because
Yes.
that person could have just said, Omotola is always fine. Now, I know what
Yeah.
it feels like when people always think that you're always fine. I remember I
Yeah.
used to be in a community where I'm always
Mhm.
the one being there for everyone. And they just feel like, Jade is fine. And I'm like, I'm late. My head is underwater. I'm not breathing fine.
Yeah.
I'm drowning. Help me here. But because, you know, every time people see us, we are literally, we are the doting ones. We are the, are you fine? Are you okay? Have you eaten? Have you, we are the ones who really, boisterous, giving everybody a hug, giving everybody a high five. But when we then get to our closet, we literally like the war is about to give in. But again, God bless that friend of yours. And I'm going to
Yeah.
say this, please. So everyone watching this, when somebody comes to your mind, do two things. First, pray for them. Second, actually call them because you don't know if you are one call away from saving their lives. I'm going to say
Yeah.
that again. When anybody comes to your mind, these are the two things that you must do. Number one, pray for them. Number two, put an actual call through. You don't know whose life you might be saving. I mean, that's not so that is not to say that everybody is suicidal, but that call can
Yeah.
just be the something you may
Encourage
say
them.
might encourage them, might make them want to, charge on and say, you know what, I'm going to do better. I'm going to be better because this person has called me. I mean, you might even like, talk about ideas that can, become a multi-billion-dollar, entity in the nearest future. So please, it's important that we check up on people. Now, Omotola, last week Friday was World Health Day, right? And I know
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the things that you're very passionate about. And I'd like to say
Yeah.
this: how do young people how can they? I'm going to rephrase that. What can people do to move from stigma to concern
You just asked me a
concerning
big
mental
question
health?
there.
Yes,
You
because
just asked me
growing up,
a big question.
I'm very sorry, but I there. Right. I'm not sorry. Because growing up, there's this adage in Yoruba language that says, "Were dun wo, kò ṣe ní ná mọ." It is interpreted
Mm,
to mean that a madman is funny to look at, but it's
yeah.
painful if that mad person is either your family member or your relative.
Mm,
And growing up, when you say you have mental health, shebi you're not physically exhibiting signs of madness,
yeah.
not knowing that there are people that are clinically depressed and things are just going
Yeah.
on. They're losing their
Wrong
minds.
step.
I mean,
Yes.
recently, there's a term that really scares me, which is functional depression,
Mm-hmm.
where people
Yeah.
are doing everything they need to do day by day, but they
Mm-hmm.
are very depressed and they're going through a lot of pressure and whatnot. So, Amotola, how can people move from the stigma of mental health to actually being concerned and helping people find help at the right time?
Hmm. That's a big question, right? I
That's
say
why
it's
I
a
asked
big
you.
question because
Because you can answer it. That's why I
yes,
asked you.
because even as professionals, we're still navigating that. We're still
Hmm.
getting people to even first understand what the term mental health is, right?
Hmm.
Many people just associate mental health with madness. Once they just hear mental
Hmm.
health, that's madness. But I'm not picking things from the gutter. I'm not mad. I'm not, or I'm not doing anything that can make me mad, right? The first thing to understand first is that mental health is not just about mental disorders, because what people still think about is that mental disorders are are the only things that mental health is concerned
It's
about.
all about.
No. Yeah. Mental health is the total wellness of the mind, the
Mm-hmm.
emotions, and even your physical body,
Hmm.
right? So, like you mentioned, there are people who are functionally depressed. They are doing everything, yet they have that, deep seated wound
Hmm.
in their soul. They are just, it's like having a just cover it up with clothes.
Yeah.
They're not treating it. But because it's covered, it's fine, it's not bleeding and all of that. So moving from stigma to understanding that is first through education, psychoeducation. Like people first need
Hmm.
to understand what it is. They need to get to a point where like, oh, okay, and notice the signs. They note the symptoms. So it's not that when you see somebody that is smiling, some people will say, "Oh, we didn't know this person was going through a lot." But for me, I'm like, the signs were there. It was really
Hmm.
obvious, right? So when people can understand that, okay, when they see certain signs, it sort of shows that this person is going through this, and
Hmm.
the society as a whole has to learn how to integrate people regardless of their struggles, right? Because it's not everybody that is okay. Not everybody,
Not everybody,
actually.
not everybody's actually okay. Yeah. Please go on. Hmm.
So
Wow.
that's how we move from stigma education, and then we also need to have policies that actually protect people when they are going
Hmm.
through um, episodes of struggles, mental and emotional struggles. Because
Hmm.
guess what? Can you call leave to say that, oh, I need a leave for if a number of days because I'm depressed? Have we gotten there? Right?
No, we haven't got there.
You get, we have to have policies that accommodate those things such that people can freely open up. And then we also need a culture of vulnerability. I believe that people share
Hmm.
a lot, but they're not vulnerable enough.
How
There's
do you mean?
okay, so what I mean is people share a lot about themselves. I just got this job. I'm traveling. I'm this. I'm that. It's like giving you an update of what they are up to. So they are either up to
Mhm.
something or doing something or getting something or like that. But when it comes to vulnerability, it's the struggles behind the those updates, right? For instance, a person can have a great job. You're doing well at your job, right? You're functioning at your job, right?
Yeah.
But you're struggling with keeping social relationships,
Hmm.
and you are not vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I don't have friends, or I don't have people I can share, values with and all of that. And I want to have that community. So
There's
even now,
nothing
it's
bad.
getting much more rampant that loneliness is becoming a thing because you can have a crowd of people in a room and then everybody's on their phone, social media, basically, because and the person can be sitting there sharing the fact that they are in that room, but they're not interacting with anybody.
The
So
people.
vulnerability is also something that we also have to get to understand and not shame people for their vulnerability.
Hmm.
That one, another topic for another day.
There's also that.
Yeah.
It's it's so. I mean, speaking talking of vulnerability, and I'm really glad that you went in this direction. So the thing
Yeah.
is, from what I have observed,
Mm-hmm.
people don't even know how to be vulnerable.
True.
We all grew up in different homes. For some of us, we grew up in homes where we're told, suck it all up.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even allowed to express ourselves, in the right way. I think, okay, yeah. We're not allowed to express ourselves. They'll start.
Mm-hmm.
For some
Yeah.
people, they had parents who didn't even know how to express their own emotions. So they couldn't help their children
True. True.
to express or to be vulnerable. For some
Yeah.
people, they feel like you being vulnerable is you being a weakling.
Mm.
So this issue of vulnerability is very, if it seems complicated.
Yes, it is.
It seems
It
complicated. So,
is.
so
It is.
what how do we know who to be vulnerable with? One, two. Um, what are the things that we can share without oversharing? Because for some of us, because we grew up in homes where nobody heard us, right? We feel like, this person asked me how I am like this. I
And
tell
just
you my
go.
entire problem. So people that have
And you just
filters.
go first.
Do you, and
Yeah,
then
I get it.
and there's people that they feel like, I don't want to be a bother. Let me just be on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain people have trusted people. who used the information against them,
against
making
them.
it now
Yes,
hard
true.
to be vulnerable with the people that they now need to be vulnerable with.
Yeah.
So how do we demystify this, this dilemma? Because it's a lot.
Thank you for
It's very
touching that.
complicated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for touching that, right? Um, Vulnerability is very, it's very delicate, right?
Hmm.
Like you said, there are people who use what you've shared with them as a weapon
Yeah.
fashioned against,
It's bad. Very bad.
right? That I understand
Hmm.
and I know very well. That's even that's quite common. The first thing to first look out for, if you don't even if you don't have anybody around us, because first we are trained
Yeah.
to listen and keep confidentiality, and I feel like many people don't understand how confidential is in
That's
the therapy profession. It is that
that.
confidential.
That is
Yes,
very important, though. It's very important.
it's
Please go on.
very it's very confidential. We go as far
Hmm.
as drafting a client's
Contract.
counselor contract. Yes, you understand what you're coming into, and except in the cases where you might harm yourself or you might harm others,
Hmm.
can that's when we are able to divulge, because you will not say
Hmm.
that you want to go and kiss somebody now, you know, and do that. That's just
Oh my
the
God.
exceptional case,
Please don't kill
right?
yourself, oh, please. Find help.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
please.
just like the exceptional case where you
Mm-hmm.
can now divulge, right,
Yeah.
the information, and that is
Mm.
made known to you. It's even as as secured as I can't take recordings of you without you
Mm.
knowing, or I let you know that I'm writing, or when you're talking I'm
Taking
writing.
note.
When I'm
Yes.
done, I'm going to destroy this note, or would you like me to keep them? And the reason I'm writing is just so as to refresh my memory or to understand
Wow.
the dynamics around it, and maybe
Hmm.
the to put together the things that are going to help you, just refresh and look at it again, like
Yeah.
what is going on here and how can we help. So aside that, right,
Hmm.
confidentiality, 98%. Let me just give that 2% to the cases I talked about, but 98%, right? So if you can't even trust anybody, trust that professional. You trust your doctor, don't you? Yeah. So you should
Yeah.
trust your therapist, your counselor, like that. Then secondly, let's say you don't even want to go to a trained professional and you just want to
Hmm.
spot who to be vulnerable to, who to know what to share with. So I would say look out for certain things. And the first thing to first look out for the values of that person. It's very important. If you meet somebody who is equally a cho, as you are saying it like this, they've carried it. Did you hear what Jay told me? Come, let me gist you.
Wow.
They are not. You already see that person's personality, like they can't keep anything to themselves. Here's the latest gist from them. Latest is they want to carry the latest gist. Trust me, you can't be vulnerable to such a person. Because even when you open up,
Wow.
your topic will be the next gist. Come, let me tell you what this person just told me. I
Yes.
have new updates, right?
Hmm.
That's one. Look out for that, right? Also, look out for how much of value they bring to the table. Emotional value, especially that they bring
Hmm.
to the table. Are they exactly watching out for you, or they don't? Because some people, they just want you to be vulnerable to them for just information, and that you will know by just you checking for the kind of questions that they ask. They're asking you questions, but they're not exactly watching out for your well-being. They can ask you questions like, how are you? I did not see you yesterday. What happened? They're just trying to get information. If they are really concerned, when you say things like, I really don't want to talk about it. Okay, I'll be here anytime you want me to. But we're just looking for information. Say, okay, and that's just it, because that's all they wanted to know. That's
Oh,
what they
yeah.
that's what they came for, right? So check the value they bring to the table. Then also, I say this thing that people have threshold.
Hmm.
Check how much of them they also the, check how
Here
they
with
also
you.
vulnerable with you, right? You and vulnerability should actually be gradual, not spontaneous. If somebody
Please
comes to
hold
you
on. Hold on. Say that again. What you just said, say it again.
vulnerability
Say it
should
slowly.
be gradual, not spontaneous. Not it should not be spontaneous. Vulnerability should be gradual because you should test bit by bit. Test with what you do with the first information. Whatever it is they do with the first information, you go on to the next one. It shouldn't be all at once, right?
Wow.
I know that, yes, like you
So good.
mentioned, you want to be able to say everything that you know going on with you and all of that, but say it bit by bit, go with a little bit, go on a little bit, and let it be something that when you share and it goes out, you are sure that's the first thing you are testing them with. When it goes out, you're able to say, yes, I can defend this. I said it. It's my story. Yeah, I own it. Right. And not something that you know that I've not really healed from this thing and I want to give it to this person. Except they are willing to help you through that healing process, right?
Hmm.
Aside that. So check out for how they, relate with other people as well. Those things that they passing. And there people that already mock people for their see this one, why is this one talking about what's wrong with them? Watch out. You can't
Hmm.
get to open your heart to such people because they might make mockery of it or they might not just understand what it is. Yeah.
Wow. This is a masterclass on vulnerability because I really wish that, and honestly, the reason why I feel like I feel inside that I'm at the edge of my seat because I remember watching a particular sermon on relationship, and the preacher was saying that as a lady, or like either as the guy or the lady, don't be quick
Hmm.
to just divulge all of your family problems
Yeah.
or the intricate things or the your past to this person.
Yeah.
The person should have earned a level of trust, a level
Yes.
of you know loyalty. The person should have earned. I think the word is trust. The person should have earned a level of trust before you can divulge certain information. And you saying it the way I really love how you have broken it down because again you have to be very very careful. I remember a particular scenario had happened to someone very close to me, and she was saying how she had told somebody something, and she wasn't hoping, and she said that she was telling the person that if this thing should go out, I know it is you. Because that was her way of trying to test if this person was like I like to
Can
call
hold it.
a palm out, like cho, everything, everything. In fact, I had another instance where somebody had come to me unprovoked, was telling me, "Oh, I was here, I was here, I was here," and I'm like, "This person doesn't even know that you're talking about their private moments to me. I'm not even friends with this person." And that for me informed me never to trust them with my own
Yeah.
private stuff. I knew that my private stuff, and it wasn't once, wasn't twice.
Yeah.
And because I was also being careful not to go and meet the other people that she's talking about to say, I heard this. So again, you just also want to respect yourself and then mind your business. But I mean, again, it's very, very important. But thank you for sharing that on vulnerability. Now you have worked with over 5,000 people across West Africa. I know that
It's
West
more.
Africa is a very cultural, you know, country or cultural countries across West Africa, right? What are the
Yeah.
cultural nuances that you had to deal with? Like I said earlier, that when people talk about mental illness, they think that is madness. And I remember that before I raised that question, I talked about a particular, adage. So, what are the cultural nuances that you've had to navigate to be able to provide solution to certain clients? How did you move past people's cultural biases to get them the solution that they needed per time.
Mm.
It's how you
So
look like. You see, let me give you a physical like Jade Sola, why are you doing this to me? I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I know that you're coming to
he's a very touchy, you
answer
know.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
there were a lot of things that I had to navigate. First, there's the cultural bias,
Have you been a
different
woman?
cultures, of course. But really, in the mental health space, people would rather speak to a woman than speak to a man.
Oh wow.
Let's not even let's not branch there. They would rather speak to
That's
a woman than
interesting.
speak to a man. Yeah,
Oh wow.
it is a
Oh
thing
wow.
because I feel like
I'm shocked.
women actually understand more. Even men would
Mm,
prefer to speak to women, right?
okay.
Than speaking to men. It's not like we don't have our male counterparts. We do. But many times they just get to like trust or understand that you can understand them
You
or
understand.
validate
You're
what you
more
feel they are saying.
empathetic and yeah.
Yes. Um, Cultural biases, I think, is more from the people than even from because yes, as a counselor, you're trained to be non-judgmental, regardless. So, regardless of who it is that I'm conducting a session for, I don't discriminate because I'm trained
Discriminate.
not to, and I don't even. It's not in my character, right? So, cultural bias, religion is one thing. When you're speaking to a person of faith is different from a person from another faith, right? And is different from someone who doesn't even think of any of the faiths at all. And that's because some people hold their beliefs in their faith so high that there's nothing they want to hear. There's nothing else that they want to hear. There's nothing else you can say, or there's nothing else you want to say. They just came to you to hear what they want to hear. So that's a very stronghold, strong bias, right? And there were people who were um, very much caught in between um, their own. They were lost in their own identity, right? We're Africans, right?
Hmm.
And many of them feel like, oh, I have this identity, but I behave this way and all of that. And that was, you have to navigate it like that. So let me give an example. Gender identity, for instance.
Hmm.
There, I recall treating a case one time where I was speaking to this lady and she was saying to me, I'm a man, I'm a man. She had to reiterate it again and again. I'm like, the identity confusion was so loud that I had to
Hmm.
now, okay, why do you think you're a man? Let's go back.
Hmm.
How did this gender um identity crisis happen? And I found out that in the part of the culture where she was from, the women did most work. The women were the ones who brought money home, took care of the house, while their men, just lounged and just sat somewhere to be pampered, right? So she kept feeling like, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. And that was one of the things that, in the session had to be really dissected and like, why do you think so? What do you think so? And you will see that that stemmed from a culture and what she had
Hmm.
understood about herself. So there are many, you know, different things. But one principle stands out always. The science of human behavior is the same everywhere, regardless of culture,
Hmm.
regardless of, it's the same everywhere, right?
Yes.
So, yes, a human being is a human being, regardless of culture. Yes, we seek to understand culture, we seek to understand the biases that come with it. Some people, till tomorrow, believe that therapy is of no use. There is
Hmm.
nothing you want to tell them. There is nothing they want to hear. Who is doing therapy? Why are you doing therapy? In the days of our forefathers, did they do therapy? They didn't do therapy
Hmm.
and they were living fine. and they were okay. Now everybody's shouting therapy, therapy. What is it with this therapy? And they would never even believe that they have a problem in the first place. And that's even the first key to even start therapy in the first place. Because if you don't believe you have a problem, it can't be helped.
That in itself is a problem.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ah, human beings can be really complicated. Please, how do you cope? Ah,
And then this
how do
question,
you
if I if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me the question, so what do you know? I mean, hmm, how I cope stems from my passion first. You have to have passion for
Mm,
this thing. If you don't,
wow.
I'm sorry, you will even wear yourself out. You will wear
Wow.
yourself out. Then secondly is understanding how to guard your heart as well. Like I said, I've done
Hmm.
this over time. So I understand when to take a break and say, you know what, no sessions for this period.
Wow.
And just to recuperate and come back. And other times I refer clients. There are many clients that be like, I can't take this case right now, or I cannot undo this case. Or can you come back? Right? Is because you have to be healthy enough to
Yeah.
help other people as well, right? It's one of the rules in counseling, right? So that you don't because again, individuals, they can have the same problem, but they don't have the same personality. They don't have the same background. They don't have the the situation might look the same, but it's not the same solution you would prefer
Not
for
the
two
same. Yeah.
people who have the same.
Hmm.
Yes. So you have to think on your toes. You have to
Yeah.
understand, okay, what exactly do you need in this situation? And what might work for A might work for B. So you're constantly thinking. And at the same time, you must not lose yourself in it because, yes, work life balance. You have to have that balance so that you can always
Yeah.
come back and be creative with, because this is life's challenges. You have to be there. And yeah, you are happy for one person this minute. Next, you are counseling somebody who is, totally sad and all of that. And you have to regulate your emotions, right? You're not swaying, you're not swinging. So
I, I
that's how that's
really, I really, now I understand what you say when you say that it has to be a passion for you. Because if you're not passionate about
yes,
this work,
yes.
you may end up being the
You get
patient at the end of the
I
day.
in
You may
fact,
end up being the patient.
you hear some stories and you begin to cry. You cry more than the bereaved. If you're not
My
able
goodness.
to, yes, you will, of course. When I hear some certain situations, my heart bleed. And funny thing is, you still have to have empathy because you can hear some things up to the point that you be like, what is it that I've not heard before? I've heard all of this before, right? But you still have to have empathy, and you must not cry more than the bereaved because how are you going to provide solution and comfort them, right? So you have to always have that balance. So there are many times that that happens, and even with clients, a professional shouldn't rush sessions. You shouldn't rush. You shouldn't be back to back. It's not class. It's not lesson class. It is take it in, go and let it go through a process. Then you come back and then go through another process again and again. And so it's just that for me as an individual, I get to um I get to incorporate every aspect of my life. My work is my work. I enjoy my work, but I have a life as well. And I take my life as serious as my work,
Mhm.
right? So that I can have that balance. I have social relationships. There are days I just want to unwind. Of course, you can. I just want to unwind. I just want to speak with my friends. I just want to see them and all of that, and just be in
Yeah.
that circle and just onboarding as well, right?
Mhm.
So I have a community. I have a circle that is safe enough for me to also go to.
I like what you just said. And as you were speaking, this line comes to mind: "Physician, heal thyself." It's one thing
Mm,
to bear the burdens of others, and it also connects with the story that you had shared earlier in our conversation. How you have a friend that is asking you, "How are you really?"
yeah.
So I'm
She's
glad
still
that you
my
have a
friend to date.
God bless her. God really bless her. Wherever you are, if you're going to watch, if you're watching
Yes,
this
this
video,
friend.
on behalf of all of us at Find Your Voice on Your Space, God, thank you for saving a soul. Because we will not have gained this friend, but it's okay. Let's move on so from what you said, how
Mm.
long does a case last for?
Mm.
How long does an average case last for, and why does it last that long?
Hmm. An average case, the longest should be 6 months
Mm,
to a year. A clause, because it's very relative. So, except it is mental disorders, full blown mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar, and the likes, that one you really cannot give a time frame. But if it's issues with, say, trauma, behavioral dysfunction, and some other things, at least for that period, because it's not a lifelong relationship with your counselor, right? It's not, and it's not a one-off thing. So it's very relative. Why? Because it depends on
mm,
the factors surrounding the person's situation
yeah.
and how fast their healing process is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's some people in 3 weeks they
They're
are,
good.
up and bouncing, and that's
Mm-hmm.
depending on situation and depending on the factors surrounding it,
Yeah.
right? Some people have just decided that, this healing, I'm coming for it, and this is all I'm coming from, and then within 6 weeks they are good to
Yeah.
go. All you just need to do is to follow up and ask them periodically, how are you doing, any challenges and all of that, which is also part of therapy in the first place, because that's where the main work is, because it's possible for them to also have a relapse, right? So, and I said 6 months to a year because it's relative to how much or how consistent the sessions are.
Yes.
Some people might want to take a break for a few months and then say, I'm ready now, I want to come back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then take a break again, go and implement that, and then come back. So that can give that period. But usually, I love to encourage my clients. I like to have a continuous relationship with them and just ask them, we are done with therapy, we are done, we finished contracts and everything. And just once in a while, breathing, I just want to check on you. How you doing? This and that. And sometimes they're like, another problem has surfaced. I didn't know this is there. And I'm like, that's very normal. Because one thing with healing is it's a journey. Sometimes you
Mm.
get to the journey and you find a pothole, and then we move again, we navigate it again, and then we move. And there's sometimes you get to the end of the road and you feel like there's no road again. We now have to clear bush, and like you didn't know that this bush was there, so let's clear it, right? So it's like that. It's quite relative, but the
Mm.
shortest I've ever had, I think, was 6 weeks.
Mm.
6 weeks. And it was about obsessive compulsive disorder,
Mm.
OCD. Now, not the OCD that people think it is, or not having to clean things and arrange things. This is distortive thoughts. You know, she just couldn't get over thoughts that would come to her mind recurrently, negative thoughts, right?
Mm.
So we had to, do all of those cognitive, check out the thought patterns and everything. And in 6 weeks, in fact, I was like, did you really come to therapy 6 weeks ago? That was, she was really, I've identified this problem. I want a solution,
The
and
way
that's it.
out.
And also another factor that make people either stay shorter is the financial factor.
Commitment.
The fact that,
Yeah.
yes, you have to recurrently pay. So it takes time to, like, okay, let me come back. Let me save up again and come back. Let me save up again and come back. Right.
Well, thank you so much for that. Now, how do you measure transformation in a person? I mean, just like you have said, for some, depending on the person, and then of course a monetary factor. Now, how can you tell how can you tell that okay, this person is really um being transformed because of the sessions that you're having with this person?
Yeah. So transformation also, it can be measured, and there some that there are some people you have to observe their transformation,
Hmm.
right? It can be measured via assessment tests,
Okay.
where you you um you administer some tests before, and then you check after and see, oh, we've moved from year to year, and all of that. That's measurable. And there's sometimes that the transformation is basically observational. They're the ones coming to tell you that, I used to think like this before, or I used to do this before, now I do this, now I don't think about this again. It's happening. For me, that's is just in those little things, like where were we before, where are we now. So usually in counseling we have goals. We have before we start, I want to know, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What are you looking at? So those are the things we now observe to, like, okay, I noticed that initially this was a goal. We've met it. It's now, we can tick it off the box that is already done, and then we can move on like that. And many times it's the people in their social circle that is giving the feedback that, oh, something is different about you, something has changed, something, better, and all of that. They say, oh, I've been going to therapy, right? And that
Mm.
feedback lets you know that, okay, there's something that is being done right here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, what are the common misconceptions that come with your work as a counseling psychologist?
Uh, first, first thing, money factor. People say therapy is expensive.
Hmm.
Oh my god. And when some people meet me, they're like, "Oh, you therapists? You guys, you are lounging, you're enjoying." Because tell me why it is expensive. So that's a misconception. Because
Hmm.
first and first, there are enough NGOs that do therapy for free.
Hmm.
Enough. I volunteer with one as a way of, giving back to the society. I'm not being paid there, right? But funny thing is, because it's a misconception, even when it's free, you know, and then the financial factor depends on the professional. Not um there's no professional body that says this is the exact amount that should be charged for sessions or anything. So it depends on the person. And then there are options of group therapy,
Hmm.
where you can just have a group of people who are going through the same thing, say for instance
Yeah.
depression, and you just have a group that is a subsidized, version, and all of that. First misconception, right? Second misconception is that therapy is not for me. It's not for everyone. I don't need therapy. I'm fine. Food is my therapy. Oh, I've heard that a number of times. People say, just give me food, just give me money. I'm fine. I'm okay, right? Other misconceptions would be that so this might be some people who are, a bit very religious will say, no, I believe in God and that's all I need. I don't need anything else. I don't need anyone else, and all of that. And of course, we have people who think that um, because therapists are humans, you too, you have your own problems now. Why am I coming to share my own problems with you when you have your own problems, right?
Hmm.
There's that misconception too as well. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them, but those ones are like the major ones that I've had again and again. And many people also, like I mentioned in the beginning, they feel like, oh, yeah, I'm talking about mental health. It's not me. I'm not mad. I'm not crazy. So, so those are like
Oh,
the major misconceptions.
fantastic. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I mean, I hope that we get to know, the places that are free. But even at that, I also believe that to get through the true value of a thing, yeah, you have to pay. You have to pay. And there's usually this common thing with people when you pay for services, they tend to take things more seriously, right? Because there's also you've paid money. Money cannot afford to go down the drain. So you have to pay. You have to come correct. Now, the future of mental health as regards technology. What role do you believe technology and digital platforms can play in the future of emotional wellness, especially in Nigeria? Because there are times whereby we sometimes play catch up in as regarding technology. I mean, I had a friend who was in China a few weeks ago, and he was really upset because he was like, "These people they are living in the future, but what are we doing in Nigeria?" So what do you think is the role of therapy, the role of technology in emotional wellness, and more importantly, mental health? Can you hear me, Motula? Can you hear me? Okay, I think that her network has taken her out. By the way, a very big thank you to everyone that has just joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the 20th episode of the Find Your Voice and Own Your Space, and we have been listening to Omotola Oyenekan, a certified counseling psychologist. I'm going to take a quick look at our YouTube. We have the mechanic. Hi, the mechanic. Good evening to you. Thank you so much. You're watching us from Lagos, Nigeria. And of course, my mommy. Mommy, thank you so much, Mommy Olani. Good evening to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining the call. Even though we know that the broadcast went really late, and that's why my eyes was up, and I was trying to make sure that I send broadcast to people that need to catch on for today's episode. So yes, welcome back. We are going to answer our question
Sorry
on
again, my
technology.
network.
It's fine. It's fine. It will definitely get better. So over to you.
Yeah, technology can play a very vital role. Um, I remember before now, we didn't used to have teletherapy, right? Teletherapy is using technology, of course, virtual therapy and all of that. People wanted to, go to the office, sit with the counselor and all of that. Even the way we were trained was, there's a sitting posture to have, there's a way you welcome the guest and all of that. But now we can have virtual therapy sessions, and it's
Yes,
also as effective as physical sessions, right?
physical
The only thing is
session.
maybe you cannot touch, and but you can do every other thing aside touching, or maybe having to comfort the person, like when they're crying or when they're expressing their emotions and all of that. But besides that, every other thing is the same words that you see. You can now use different platforms to actually achieve that, right? And then also we now have many apps that are readily available for people to quickly get help from. Before now, help didn't used to be so accessible. You have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that will tell you that there's this counselor somewhere or this therapist somewhere and all of that. But now there are many apps that are very much available for people to quickly reach out for help and get help, right? And it's becoming much more rampant. So that is technology, and we hope to see more that technology can do, not replace,
Yes.
because nothing really can exactly replace the need for human interaction, not even machines. I believe that strongly.
Especially for therapy, because it's emotions, and
Yeah,
machines cannot interpret emotions the way a human being rather would
yeah.
interpret emotions. So I strongly believe, because having metal hug you is it doesn't feel right. Being hugged by a robot, it doesn't feel right in any way.
It's
It's
a
like holding on.
hug.
No, it's not. That's iron. Anyways, so if you could tell somebody watching us right now a fundamental truth they need to internalize and understand about their emotional health, what would that one thing be?
Okay. It will be take your emotional and mental health seriously.
Mm,
Yeah. It's not just the absence of disease, it's the fact that is your mind functioning well? Is it functioning right? Are you able to um, do every other thing that you need to do without breaking under pressure?
mm,
Right? Uh, Pay attention to what your body is feeling. Pay attention to what your mind is feeling. And if you ever see something that is feels like you should pay attention to, quickly do that. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't feel like I'm
mm.
fine, I'm okay, I can chest it, I can carry it, I can do it all by myself. No. Now we have more willing ears and more willing hands to help and support you. So you're not alone in this journey, right? You're not you're not alone. If you ever feel burdened, if you ever feel like um you're not enough, if you ever feel like you can't carry on, please reach out. Reach out. At least my own ears, they are very willing to listen, and my hands very willing to support you, right? And there are many other people, many other professionals as well. There's help readily available now. You just have to reach out.
All right, so how can we reach you? Should we have people that want to connect with you, book a session with you? How can we connect with you? Please tell us.
Yes. So on my socials, you can connect with me, Omotola Oyenekan. I can see that the E has a double E. It's one E, please. Omotola Oyenekan across all platforms. On Instagram, I'm Therapist Tola. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, of course. And yes, if you want to book a session with me, you can get me via my socials also. Simple steps. We have pre-assessment. This is just to know what exactly is the problem. Is it academic? Is it relational? Is it marital? And all of that, just to know what an overview of the problem is, and then to now book a session. That's where you know that this is a counselor client relationship, like I talked about the contract and all of that, and just go about. And session is chicken money. There are times I run discount programs, of course. Yes, there are times I run discount programs, and there are different bouquets for people who cannot exactly afford a particular package, right? So there are different packages to go, individual group sessions, depending on whichever one that you want. It's a very simple process, and then we get into a client counselor relationship with it.
Thank you so much, Omotola. I enjoyed this session. I didn't want it to end. But like I know, you're a woman
Yes,
under 20, you're a married woman, you have to go and tend to your husband.
yes.
I've taken
Did you have
one.
to cast me? Hey God.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I
Apologies.
wasn't wearing.
If I don't cast you, who will? I need to protect my brother's interests. Anyways, thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you for your support
Yeah,
behind the
welcome.
scenes. Thank you. I mean, I remember one
Okay.
episode that was supposed to happen and it didn't happen. And the matter was like, Lady Jade, what's going on? Are we not going left today? Thank you for keeping me accountable. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Now, before we go, Momelani just gave us she dropped something on YouTube and she said, yes, the use of technologies like AI is evolving and transforming the healthcare industry. Yes, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank you.
We completely agree with that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mami Olani. Thank you so much, the mechanic, for engaging with us on YouTube. And of course, to our LinkedIn viewers, thank you. Do well to share,
Thank
to
you.
repost, to also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Lady Jade Global. Like, share. Someone needs to watch this video. Thank you so much, Omotola. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you for being with us tonight, regardless
Thank you,
of the
everyone. Thank you, Lady Jade.
all right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sis. Bye. All right, people. It was indeed a very robust conversation. You can catch on the replay on YouTube at Lady Jade Global till I come your way again for the 21st episode of Find Your Voice on Your Space. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.